Hey, so if you can't make the webinar, which I hope that you do, we're going to be getting into some of these things and you'll have a personal Q&A, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of an outline of what we're doing here, especially on the beta launch. First off, this is going to be a project that I've wanted to do for a long time. I just haven't known how to package it because it is part of a bigger yogic life coaching certification. But in working with the people in my Body Brand Academy, working with female health entrepreneurs, still working here and there with, male health entrepreneurs, therapists, sports coaches and whatnot through my psychosocial assessments for performance coaching to get in their head a little bit for some of that. I realized that there's a gap here just in the aspects that I was bringing into the yoga field, but yet once again, not everybody wants to do yoga or speak in those terms. So I have extracted a beta option right now that I want to launch, and I was going to do it one-on-one. I've done it already once with someone one-on-one on a very bare bones aspect, actually two people on very, very bare bones, just getting the certifications and psychosocial assessments, one other in getting some coaching tools. And I realized in going into it possibly again here in April that we could just open this up to, I think there's a handful of people that I personally want to invite because I see you out there and I know that you're life coaches. And I see some of you taking health coaching. I see some of you kind of finagling into, how do I become this person that works on the whole person, the lifestyle of the person, because you're dealing with performance, you're dealing with participation, you're dealing with this biopsychosocial model, maybe even the spiritual model as a yoga or a mind-body coach or some other, practice Ayurveda, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, things that bring in maybe more of the human, systems model, which is not necessarily in that sick care system. So this is just pure life coaching. This is what the classical, go to the ashram and have the guru teach you, along with lifestyle changes. What he or she was really teaching you was how to change your behaviors and your personality style, and honestly giving you mastery in the self. And so if you see the research on meditation and all of that work, mindfulness, gratitude, these are all spiritual principles that are becoming mainstream. And the reason spiritual coaching out of pain works, which I've also included my download with Joe Tata, where I described this is my method and how I change people's lives. As a result of my work, hundreds and hundreds of women's lives, and through them vicariously thousands and thousands of people, through their children, the corporations that they've started, the employees they work with, peers, have had this impact. Not to pat myself on the back, but literally to show you the impact you can have when you change someone's perspective on themselves. And I'm telling you right now, the reason yoga works as a medicine and yoga therapy has been born as a profession is because people who are not just moving people through exercise programs understand that it's life coaching. But in understanding that, people come with their own baggage, right? So if you're going to really truly implement the psychosocial aspect, okay, which is what I understood is really what I've been doing and always been searching through all of the things I've added in integrative health and healing and well-being, then you're going to have to understand communication styles, personality styles, people. You need to go back and study humans. You do not have this anymore because humanities has been pretty much stomped out of anything of value, at least in the Western model of education. See, in the Eastern model of education, which is how I train people, which they get kind of out of funk with because they want to just be told things so they can put it in their little computers and then spit it back out. I teach on the Eastern model, and it's old school, the way the philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle taught. the way science began, which was collecting the whys and a philosophical discussion and debate, and then bringing in, and I am all for scientific fact, but here's the thing, we are not studying human to human. We are not. We are reductionist in our studies, and so we're down to cellular and biochemical reactions and things like that. But we are not teaching practitioners of health and well-being, health advocates, anybody who's helping anyone change their life, whether it be shift a career, or, MLMs with trying to get people to be more business people. That is because you are not teaching people how to communicate and listen to other people, how to know their personality. And then, above all, if you are helping somebody through change, which life change is what you're asking them to do when you ask them to do anything for you outside of that hour that they're with you, and even to get to that hour that they're with you, is a change in their life, and people are not understanding. In order for that to work, you need the buy-in of the person into themselves, and that is life coaching. It is the ability to walk with someone into who they are right now. Give them the process of self-reflection. Give them self-worth, self-awareness, okay? A self-concept enough to understand that there is another side. Because we've seen with the opioid epidemic, and we've seen with, pain control, you cannot make them believe that coming to you is going to eliminate the pain of transformational change. And that's why we have a bunch of Band-Aids. Because it will never. It is not an easy path. It is not an easy path from the self I see today to the self I see tomorrow. But no one is teaching health and wellness providers how to life coach. And they're definitely not teaching them, if they do take life coaching through something. In fact, I think that's why a lot of people in the rehabilitation fields that have been dealing with pain have migrated to yoga, because we have been burnt out and we've been in pain, and we realize that the path from A to B is not always a pretty and comfortable one. And a lot of that crap that we're teaching everybody else to do to numb their pain and eliminate their pain, and grading them on a pain scale, we've only done well, we've only made progress when your pain is reduced today, in a very physical sense, is not really bringing in the psychosocial. Because these people may be leaving your office to go home to a domestically violent thing that they have to somehow figure out from the time of your office to how to get home to make some sort of lie of where they've been. And that is the reality of it. And it's not just the people in low socioeconomics. There are plenty of women and men being beat with $100,000 income in their homes. So this particular life coaching certification is going to bring in as much of evidence and give you research articles up the wazoo as much as I can that are extrapolated. You know why? Because nobody's talking about this. Nobody's studying it yet. You know who will do the research? We will. When we introduce this conversation of being not only life coaches, but ones that understand, I think, the strongest of us. And I'm not saying you have to be, you could be a sports trainer and have no idea of anything medical. But what I'm saying is that, and I mean more of like, coaching lacrosse, coaching football. You can take this and be a better coach, because I literally have assessments for you that are pinpointed to the language to communicate in their language of their sport. Okay, so that's not an issue. What I'm saying is that if you are somebody who is also working in the world of health and wellness, but you don't necessarily want to be advertising the healing aspect, you like the coaching. The coaching is not even educating. The coaching is not anywhere near treatment. If you like the coaching, walking with someone hand in hand to change their life, which starts with changing their perception of self. If you know you do this already, you are in a very valuable space. Because if someone can be changed like that, if you get good enough in your skills to flip the perspective in a consult conversation, in a 15-minute conversation, utilizing some of the tools that we will go into, then you no longer have to have a sale issue. You understand? All of these marketing things and all of this stuff, you need that for some communication to get somebody to get in front of you. But honestly, if once they get in front of you, there is no problem there, because you will have given them back themselves for a moment. This is a sensation most people are having eating disorders over, addictions over. This is a serious problem and gap. And we will not have self-efficacy in healthcare unless the model changes into non-victimization. And as long as we go and sit in a model where I'm telling you what to do and you're listening to me whether you like it or not, then you're in a patriarchal, authoritarian, dictatorial model that is in no way client-centered. Okay? So that is why there's this option here. And, I just want to go through a couple of moments of what each section is going to have. And again, this is beta. You're going to give me feedback and might tweak a little bit as we go along. But for the most part, your introduction into a broader, much broader range of self-awareness, self-efficacy aspects in terms of self-concept. Okay, because you need to have a broader range. You can have whatever beliefs you want, but you need to start opening your ears to other perspectives on how we can bring in the conversation of self, and with that, spirituality, which is really the study of self-mastery and understanding that you are something to what, if any of you are familiar with Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it was expanded before his death. It's not shown because people don't know what to do with it, but he went into growth needs beyond self-realization, which nobody really talks about the top of that damn pyramid, but that was segmented into different categories, 3 other different categories, to ultimately transcendence. And what transcendence is true healing, because you are now wanting others to benefit from your story. And if you can get someone who is in survival mode and having all this inflammation and all this pain and problem, or in addiction, find a way to have some form of self-actualization, then you are just doing something that people don't know what to do yet with. You are literally changing the game. So you'll have that introduction to expand into just some of these concepts, okay? Then on the 21st, of this month, we're going to start with the units. There's 4 units, okay, over 12 weeks, dripped every, obviously, 3 weeks, right, for each unit, and each unit will have subcategories that you will study. Out of that, you will be learning behaviors and behavioral change. You will be learning, motivators and how people rank value, my 5 realms of being model, which by all means, if that could be a blueprint for you, then please do. Determinants of health, understanding that a bit. You get a little bit of that in the introduction, but what I was just talking about, the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the human systems approach. Section 2, going a little bit more into personal authority and efficacy and attitude. Okay, so now we're looking at the psychosocial approach I was talking about, the assessment tools, a little bit more in depth, coaching awareness, getting a taste of coaching. You don't get into real coaching skills in terms of practicing until section 3, because you need to understand behaviors and motivators and aspects of self and things like that. And then when we get into section 3, we're learning, readiness of change for them, but also their personalities of readiness, and helping others set intentions, success goals, radical acceptance, concepts that maybe you've heard in the world of neurolinguistics, psychoanalytics, psychology, and a lot of the sales, marketing, human performance conversations, things like that. They get into this. What I'm applying it is for coaching people through the performance of their life, okay? Through progress in their life. Section 4, we get into coaching aspects such as consciousness, competence, action steps that they can take, tools that you can use, certain questioning and things like that. A little bit more into the neurolinguistic techniques, biohacking, stress response, understanding some of that physiology. Those of you who have studied health coaching already might have some of that background in terms of what is really going on and how you can put some tools in there or get them, again, to utilize these things, see the effects, and then see if you can find pockets for them to come to the self-realization of things they can use, because everybody's going to have different time constrictions, right? Different perceptions of their barriers. Case studies in section 4 and practicum become, primary means for implementation, because my hope is that at the end of this, you will be certified in behaviors and motivators assessment. You will be able to, utilize those tools for yourself. I'll set you up on a back office if you'd like, and you could purchase what you need, and we'll meet and discuss what you want in your back office, what type of tools you're going to utilize at a very discounted rate through having been certified in my assessments, the 5 realms assessments. And you will also have the strategy for how would you put this into the programming that you already have, so that you can immediately start getting the outcomes I think this will give, and I know this will give when you get the skill level up, because I literally cut out half hours on my initial conversations on just trying to get a feel for the person, and definitely like a whole month of self-inquiry work done in a matter of 1 or 2 sessions, which is huge, because the buy-in from them is really what makes or breaks how much your home stuff, how much of your home exercise, how much of your diet planning, self-care, read that book, take this paper kind of thing's going to even work in their life. I've even seen to the point where people have gotten so interested in this, they've gone on to yoga teacher training and things like that. So, that's basically, in terms of the different sections, what you're going to get. This ultimately is probably going to be a $3,500 500-hour yogic life coaching and teacher training program. In and of itself right now, through the coaching in this and the advanced coaching, which gets into emotional intelligence a little bit more deeply, and certification in axiology, that in and of itself is together about $2,000 to $2,500 program. So you're getting it right now at the reduced beta, and you're getting access to all the advanced training, minus the yogic, because that will be its own, and that will be its own entity. Just know that if you ever did want to take that programming, you will have a very strong 2/3 of that, and can probably get the discount on that as well. Okay, so the future of success here depends on receptivity. I invite you into the webinar, if it's before the webinar that you are hearing this, so that you can have your questions individually answered, and we get a little bit more into some more specifics and present this again face to face. But if you don't get in on the webinar, I invite you into cohort 1. We're going to start the 21st of April 2019. Those of you in the Mind Body Brand Academy already in the inner circle are getting an extra discount that I'm sending through the emails. So please go in and check the announcements if you don't get my emails. And those of you in the Goddess Wisdom Mastermind are even getting a discount if you're not in the Mind Body Brand Academy, just because you're part of that training circle already. And I know you're already going to be making change to that. All right, guys, so there is the beta discount. There's the extra discount if you're already in my inner training circles. And above all, there is the opportunity right now to up your game tremendously, put a brand new, unique perspective on your work. And honestly, I love my career. I love my career because it could go in different ways. It can be given different ways. And they all are healing. They all are healing. And when you feel like you can combine it all, sky's the limit. You're changing people's lives. All right, guys, take care.